growth hormone releasing hormone and analogs we need to discuss today. The human growth hormone releasing hormone is used mainly as diagnostic agent to know if GH deficiency is there or not. So in human medicine, about 40 to 80% of the growth hormone deficit children responds to GHRH, suggesting that the defect in many children is hypothalamic in nature. So a provocative testing for the diagnosis of GH deficiency with human GHRH has also been studied in the dogs, and especially the GHRH causes 2 to 4-fold increase, especially in case of the serum GH in normal dogs when compared to the other dogs. Whereas the growth hormone is one of the important hormone, and the drug sermorelin is a synthetic analog of growth hormone releasing hormone. So here you can see that sermorelin is coming as sermorelin acetate, and it is containing 29 amino acid residues as found in case of the human growth hormone releasing hormone, and it is available as a sterile non-pyrogenic powder, and subcutaneous injection can also be done. So it is also used in the human medicine as test for the growth hormone secretion, and but it is misused as doping agent, especially in case of sports. So you may be knowing what are all the doping agents, especially the anabolic steroids, and some of the steroids have been used as the doping agents, also in case of the horses. So the pain, swelling, and or redness at the site of injection may occur, and allergic reaction to sermorelin is unlikely, but immediate medical attention is recommended. So IGF-1 and analogs. So I'm not going to in detail, whereas the important drug names and one or two sentences about that thing will be dealt. So Laron type dwarfism in case of human occurs if the mutation of GH receptor gene that either prevents growth hormone binding or causes the other defects in case of the receptors. And the such patients have normal levels of patients have normal levels of the growth hormone but decreased level of IGF-1. Such dwarfism have been treated with recombinant IGF-1. That's how it is going to be treated. Then mecasermin is recombinant to human insulin like growth factor, manufactured by using both yeast and E. coli. It is used for the long-term treatment of growth hormone failure, especially in case of children with severe primary IGF-1 deficiency. So the mecasermin is not recommended for the use, especially in case of children who have stunted growth due to the growth hormone deficiency, malnutrition, underactive thyroid status, or those who are taking long-term steroid medication. So the mecasermin and other injections, they are used in case of the humans. So the drugs used for the diagnosis of the growth hormone deficiency is at least growth hormones are available in veterinary medicines, it's available, but a GH stimulation test is often required for the diagnosis of the growth hormone deficiency. And changes in growth hormone concentration in response to stimulation are usually used to diagnose the disorders of the growth hormone secretion. Whereas the alpha-2 adrenoceptor agonists are very commonly used for this purpose, whereas the selective alpha-2 adrenoceptor stimulants like the clonidine or xylazine is often used to stimulate the secretion of growth hormone. Please remember that clonidine and xylazine are the two important drugs used for the stimulation of growth hormone. And both the drugs induce production of endogenous GHRH, thereby stimulating the release of the growth hormone. The intravenous administration of xylazine or clonidine causes increase in circulatory growth hormone in normal dogs, whereas the dogs with growth hormone deficiency do not respond to the treatment. So the drugs used in excess of the growth hormone. So varieties of the drugs are there which can be used. whereas the synthetic analog of the somatostatin is the octreotide. It's a synthetic analog. So the octreotide acetate is synthetically prepared, acceptable, that mimic the activity of natural somatostatin, and octreotide binds to the same receptors just like the somatostatin, although within higher affinity whereas to the other receptors. So similar to somatostatin means it is a somatostatin analog. Octreotide inhibits the secretion of growth hormone and many other hormones such as the number one is the gastrin, the glucagon, insulin, and secreting the TSH, cholestyramine, and many more hormones, especially the hormones can be there. And it also secretion, it reduces the secretion of fluids by the intestine and pancreas and inhibits motility of GI tract and contractable gallbladder. By decreasing secretion of GI fluids, octreotide helps to reduce the loss of body fluids and minerals. It has also been shown to produce analgesic effects, especially most probably acting as a partial agonist at the mu receptor, opioid receptor. So apart from the action on the alpha-2 adrenergic receptors, it is also having octreotide is absorbed quickly and completely after the subcutaneous application. So in humans, the maximal plasma concentration is reached after 30 minutes and the drug is eliminated in about 100 minutes. About 32% of the dose is eliminated and changed in the urine. Of course, it has got its own side effects, and some of the rare side effects include acute anaphylactic reactions, pancreatitis and hepatitis and many more type of the side effects can be seen. Yes. Then octreotide has been approved for the treatment of acromegaly in case of the animals are concerned. Then it has been approved for especially the acromegaly, and also been it is used for the diarrhea and flushing episodes associated with carcinoid syndrome and treatment of diarrhea in patients with vasoactive intestinal polypeptide or peptide secreting tumors. So in the case of dogs, what is the use of octreotide? It has been used for the treatment of some insulinomas and the gastrinomas. Octreotide comes as an immediate release of the injection for administration by subcutaneous or IV routes, and as long-acting injection for the intramuscular use. So here you can see that this is the lanreotide, octreotide and lanreotide. Please remember that these are the somatostatin analogs. So it's a synthetic analog of somatostatin. So the mechanism of action and the other indications are very similar to that of the octreotide. It inhibits the release of several other hormones, including growth hormone, TSH, and glucagon. So the lanreotide is used for the treatment of acromegaly due to the both pituitary and non-pituitary growth hormone secreting tumors, and the management of symptoms caused by the neuroendocrine tumors, and particularly carcinoid tumors and vasoactive intestinal peptide cancers, especially adenomas. So the side effects of this lanreotide include mild to moderate pain at the site of the injection and the gastrointestinal disturbances such as diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting. So the another thing is there, pegvisomant is the growth hormone receptor antagonist. Please remember the name of this drug, pegvisomant. So this is the growth hormone receptor antagonist, means so it inhibits the action of the growth hormone. So it is a growth hormone receptor antagonist used in the treatment of acromegaly. It is basically a genetically modified E. coli bacterial protein containing 191 amino acid residues to which several polyethylene glycol polymers have been added. So it is structurally resembles growth hormone, as a result of which it occupies the GH receptor and blocks it. So by blocking the action of the pegosamant growth hormone inhibits the synthesis of IGF-1 because the growth hormone is going to act through the release of IGF-1 from the kidney, not kidney, especially the liver. So it has been recommended for the treatment of pituitary gland tumors causing acromegaly. So side effects of pegosamant include reactions of the injection site, swelling of limbs, and many more are there as usual. So the other drugs, several other drugs have been tried in the treatment of acromegaly. Of course, this is much more concerned with that of the human beings, whereas the veterinary use is limited. Whereas the dopamine agonists such as the bromocriptine are used occasionally for the treatment of acromegaly in some species of the dogs. So this is related to the next one is the prolactin, is the second hormone. So growth hormone, we have learned the growth hormone is secreted from anterior pituitary by the action on the somatotrophs by GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone. So the secreted growth hormone will be released in a pulsatile manner. That means in a rhythmic response, and also the growth hormone is going to act on the growth hormone receptors which are found on almost all the organs, whereas the growth hormone receptors are present especially on the long bones and also on the muscular tissue for the growth. Then in the night the activity of the growth hormone is very high, whereas the cascade of events which take place after the receptor is activated is a specific protein or is synthesized through the mRNA, then the growth will arise. So the one of the antagonists of the growth hormone is pegosamant, and the somatostatin is the one which is going to arrest the secretion of the growth hormone, and it acts negatively on somatotrophs, inhibit the release of the growth hormone. Whereas the somatotrophin analogs are octreotide and lanreotide. So these are clinically used for the treatment of the acromegaly in case of the dogs and the human beings. So next hormone is prolactin. As the name indicates, lactin means related to milk. So prolactin is a lactogenic hormone, then luteotrophic hormone, and the mammotrophin or luteotrophin. These are all the synonyms of prolactin. It's a peptide hormone that is structurally related to growth hormone and belongs to the somatomammatrophin hormone family. So it is secreted by the what you call as the mammographs and the lactotrophs cells which are abundant in anterior pituitary and increase in the number of during pregnancy, probably under the influence of estrogen. So estrogen is very much required for the action of the prolactin. So prolactin is involved in mainly in the development of mammary gland and maintenance of the lactation. So it is a luteotrophic in bitches and queens and also in case of the sheep. So prolactin is very much required for the synthesis of the milks in lactotrophs. So the chemistry of this hormone so it's a single polypeptide chain of 23,000 Daltons containing 3 disulfide bridges, and prolactin consists of the 198 amino acid in case of sheep. So the different species amino acid, the hormone in different species, especially the lactogenic hormone, is differing in the molecular structure little bit, especially amino acid sequence is different. So different varieties of the prolactin have also been seen, but biological significance of form is not known. And because the prolactin resembles growth hormone, both are having the structure activity relationships, it is thought that these two polypeptides are evolved from a common ancestral cell. And regulation of the secretion of the prolactin is The anterior pituitary is going to secrete the prolactin. It is controlled almost entirely by a hypothalamic inhibitory factor called as prolactin release inhibitory factor, and this is identified as the dopamine, or else simply what we can say is dopamine is the inhibitory factor for the release of prolactin. Means dopaminergic agonists, if we use, then they are going to decrease the release of the growth hormone. The dopamine is produced by neurons in the ventral hypothalamus or the arcuate nucleus and released into the portal capillaries to gain access to lactotropes, where it's going to bind to D2 dopamine type of the receptors. And the pituitary hormones, like other hormones, the secretion of prolactin is not stimulated by any effective hypothalamic hormone or the factor. So the thyrotropin releasing hormone, or TRH, may be involved in the release of prolactin, but it need to be confirmed yet. So moreover, unlike other anterior pituitary hormones, prolactin is not having, especially prolactin does not stimulate the synthesis and secretion of other hormones, whereas on its target cells. So it is not going to act indirectly, it's only acting directly. And the prolactin itself is believed to accelerate the dopamine turnover and has a negative feedback control over its release. So like growth hormone, prolactin is secreted in a pulsatile manner. So please remember that the prolactin is also secreted in a pulse-like manner, and the output is increased by sleep, stress, exercise, and hypoglycemia. Whereas the prolactin concentration rises markedly during the pregnancy, reaching its maximum at the term of the pregnancy. In case of lactating animals, prolactin secretion is stimulated by suckling stimulus or milking, and this sends sensory stimulus to the hypothalamus, wherein the synthesis of the dopamine is blocked. So dopamine is going to inhibit the secretion of the prolactin, or else in the vice versa, dopaminergic receptor antagonists are the one which are going to increase the milk yield, like the diazepam or any other CNS depressants. A short-lived surge of prolactin secretion occurs immediately after the onset of the milk removal, and it rises as the progression of the lactation goes. Drugs which block dopamine receptors, example phenothiazine tranquilizers and butyrophenols, or the benzodiazepines, they are also increase the prolactin secretion and cause increase in the milk production. So we can use these agents for the increase in the milk production of the cattle. So that the VIP, or vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, inhibits the dopamine synthesis within the hypothalamus, whereas the estrogen is going to decrease the lactotrope sensitivity to dopamine. Both are stimulators of the prolactin secretion. The dopamine and dopaminergic agonists like the bromocriptine, on the other hand, cause reduced synthesis and output of the prolactin, especially dopamine and dopaminergic agonists. Bromocriptine is used in case of certain large animals. The mechanism of the action of the prolactin is there are certain what you call as the specific prolactin receptors are present, just like the growth receptor. So it's a transmembrane receptors and intercellular cytoplasmic region it is attached. So the cascade of events, the Janus kinase and STAT. So Janus kinase and just another kinase, and STAT is long form of signal transducer and inactivation transcript, signal transducer and activator of transcript. So the Janus kinase STAT signaling pathway is involved mainly in the mechanism of interferons, interleukins, growth factors, hormones, or other chemical messengers which regulate the DNA transcription and activity in the cell. So whereas this Janus kinase and STAT system consists of three main components: a membrane-bound receptor, a Janus kinase, and STAT family of intracellular proteins which regulate some aspects of the growth survival of this hormone. So what happens when prolactin is going to bind with that of the receptors? The information is transmitted through the cell membrane to activate tyrosine kinase activity of the Janus kinase, which autophosphorylate itself. The STAT protein binds to the phosphorylated receptor and gets itself phosphorylated. So the phosphorylated STAT protein then translocates into the cell nucleus where it binds to a DNA and promotes transcription of genes responsive to the STAT. So very similar to that of the prolactin, the growth hormone can also bind to the prolactin receptor and thus has prolactin-like lactogenic activity. That's why the RBST, recombinant bovine somatotropin, is used for induction of increasing the milk. So vice versa is also true. So what is the main physiological function of the prolactin, especially in case of females, is the control of milk production, especially the lactogenesis. So the prolactin, in a complex interaction with other circulating hormones, example growth hormone, gonadotrophins, estrogens and progestins, thyroid hormone and adrenocortical hormones. So prepares the mammary gland for the postpartum lactation, especially during pregnancy. High levels of the estrogen and progesterone will inhibit the prolactin activity. But at the parturition, when blood levels of estrogen falls down, then the concentration rises and lactation is initiated. Prolactin stimulates the RNA synthesis for milk production proteins and promote the lactose synthesis, especially in the mammary gland. So the prolactin is the hormone which exerts anti-gonadotrophic effect by inhibiting the release and response of the varieties to the gonadotrophins. Therefore, the elevated protein level in lactating animals in some species, especially, it is going to result in suppression of the ovulation. So as a result of the pathological hyperprolactinemia is common cause of infertility, especially in case of the cows. That's why, because of this particular thing, whenever the animal is having a very high yield, so the animal are not coming to the estrus. That may be the reason. And prolactin also possesses luteotrophic effect in bitches and queens and is suspected to be involved in the maintenance of the anestrus phase of the estrus cycle, especially in case of the bitches. So the decline of progesterone and increase in the prolactin production at the termination of the diestrus causes the clinical signs of the manifestation of pseudopregnancy in the non-pregnant bitches. So the pseudopregnancy, one of the cause is increase in the prolactin production at the termination of the diestrus. And non-pregnant bitches can rest, lactate and nature objects during this time. So there is a diurnal as well as the ovulatory cycle in case of the prolactin secretion. So in case of many mammals, there is also a seasonal change in the prolactin release. So in addition to their presence of mammary gland, the prolactin receptors are present in many tissues, including the ovary, the pituitary gland, heart, lung, thymus, spleen, liver, then the pancreas, kidney, adrenal glands, uterus, skeletal muscles, and the area of central nervous system is containing the prolactin receptors. The physiological effects of prolactin at these sites are very poorly characterized. So the prolactin receptors are present in T lymphocytes, and prolactin has also has shown to modulate the immune response. So what are all the disorders of the prolactin secretion? Either it does, sometimes it may be increased secretion, or sometimes there is decrease in secretion. So what happens? First, let us go the excess production of the prolactin. So this is the especially hyperprolactinemia is common syndrome in case of humans and the animals. So the hyperprolactinemia may be caused by the prolactin secreting tumors and disorders of the hypothalamus or pituitary affecting prolactin secretion, especially the failure of dopamine at dopamine receptor levels, and especially in case of anterior pituitary for a reduction of its synthesis, especially in case of the hypothalamus. So drugs like dopamine receptor antagonists. So what are all the drugs? Especially dopaminergic receptor antagonists. Maybe hundreds of drugs are there, starting from the diazepam and also many times the barbiturates and many more. Primary hypothyroidism is also affecting the action of the prolactin. So there is increased TRH level, etc. What are the clinical manifestation of hyperprolactinemia? Is galactorrhea and infertility in case of the animals, females. As prolactin secretion alters ovarian responsiveness to the gonadotropins, continued presence of prolactin during the anistus phase may prolong the duration of this phase of the estrous cycle in case of the bitches, especially it happens. Whereas the anti-prolactin drugs, the number one is the dopamine antagonists, are used clinically to control pathological hyperprolactinemia in case of the varieties of the species, and also to shorten the naturally occurring long inter-stress intervals in case of the bitches. So what happens especially in case of deficiency? So in case of prolactin deficiency, the mammary gland will be suppressed and improper lactation will occur. Suppressed mammary development is a feature of chronic ergot poisoning also in case of the ewes. So the line of treatment for the prolactin disorders are, so varieties of the pharmacological approaches are there to combat this particular thing, especially in case of both veterinary and human medicine. So drugs are available mainly for the treatment of hyperprolactinemia. So the drugs used to treat prolactin disorders have been broadly classified into two classes. Number one, the drugs used in excess of prolactin and drugs used in deficiency of prolactin. So whenever we are dealing with the hormones, we are always concentrating on these both type of the excess action. So the drugs used in excess of the prolactin is dopaminergic receptor antagonists. Example, the bromocriptine, then carbargolin, then metargolin. Drugs used in deficiency of the prolactin are example, are one of the things is the growth hormone itself, and also the placental lactogen. Placental lactogen. So placenta is produced to produce the lactogen. It's called as the placental lactogen. And drugs used in the excess of prolactin like the dopamine and agonists like the bromocriptine is a semi-synthetic ergot derivative that is which is used as a dopaminergic receptor agonist and prolactin inhibitor. So it is used in the treatment of the pseudo-pregnancy and pituitary adenomas. However, its use has not gained wide acceptance because its adverse effects, and the mechanism of action is, so this bromocriptine is a potent dopaminergic receptor agonist. So bromocriptine, please remember that the bromocriptine is a dopaminergic receptor agonist. whereas it directly activates the dopamine receptors present in the lactotrope cells and inhibits the secretion of the prolactin. And apart from this one, the bromocriptine has greater action on dopaminergic 2 type of the receptor, especially in the central nervous system. At certain dopamine sites, it inhibits it. The brain, it is going to act as a partial agonist or antagonist of the dopamine 2 type of the receptors. Whereas the bromocriptine also inhibits the release of glutamate by reversing the glutamate GLT1 transporter. So it is a weak adrenergic, it's got weak adrenergic action. Coming to the pharmacological action of the bromocriptine, exhibits multiple pharmacological activities. It inhibits prolactin release from the anterior pituitary and it reduces the serum prolactin levels. Hence, it is an anti-galactopoietic effect, and means anti-galactopoietic effect means it is going to reduce the milk yield sometimes by serum prolactin. Inhibition of the prolactin secretion can be lytic during the second half of the diestress or pregnancy in case of the bitches and queens. Queens means the cats. Female cat is also called as the queen. Decrease in case of prolactin secretion can shorten the length of estrus and can include estrus if treatment occurs during the late estrus. So the bromocriptine increases growth hormone release in normal subjects, but decreases the same from the, especially in case of the pituitary tumors. So the side effects of this drug are the nausea, vomiting through the stimulation of dopaminergic receptors, especially in case of the CTZ or the chemoreceptor trigger zone. And the bromocriptine may also produce hypotension due to the weak peripheral alpha adrenoceptor blockade and through the central effects. So the bromocriptine may decrease the secretion of corticotrophin in some animals with pituitary and dependent hyperadrenocorticism. So these are all the therapeutic effect of the bromocriptine, especially in case of the Catalan practice. So of course the kinetic is data is very less. Of course, the less studies have been conducted. So in case of human beings, so we can take it as a reference. An oral dose of bromocriptine is absorbed from the gut, but due to the high first pass effect, only about 6% reaches the systemic circulation. So it is highly bound to the plasma proteins, 90%, and it is metabolized by the liver. It has a biphasic half-life. The initial alpha phase is about 4 hours and the terminal phase is about 15 hours. And the side effect of these particular hormones are dose repeated, means as the dose increases, the side effect increase. So the treatment of this overdose is symptomatic and it is supportive. Cardiovascular support should be instituted as early as possible. Contraindications and precautions. Bromocriptine is contraindicated during pregnancy and hepatic insufficiency, and it should not be used in case of lactating animals as it interferes with the lactation. It should not be used in case of the patients with the cardiovascular problems and drug interactions. Bromocriptine should not be used along with butyrosphenoidate derivatives, phenothiazine derivatives, reserpine or other anti-dopaminergic drugs, and the reason is they may increase prolactin concentration. So the estrogen and progesterone may also interfere with the effects of the bromocriptine, and the concurrent use of the anti-hypertensive drugs may produce additive hypotensive effect. So where it is used in the clinical use, especially the veterinary medicine, bromocriptine is used mainly for shortening anisters and in the pseudo pregnancy, especially in case of the bitch. So it's also useful in treating acromegaly or pituitary adenomas in a variety of the species. And the bromocriptine is used in the treatment of pituitary dependent hyperadrenocorticism in case of the dogs, but due to the adverse effect, it is clinical value is low. And in case of humans, bromocriptine is considered as the drug of choice for treatment of prolactinemia, regardless of the etiology or the sex of the total patient. Whereas the bromocriptine has also been used to treat the symptom of or the syndromes of the growth hormone excess or acromegaly and in the treatment of Parkinsonism. So, do you know what is Parkinsonism? So, there is uncontrolled convulsions, especially in the geriatric patients, that may happen, and it's often adjunct to the levodopa. So, veterinary practice, it is very less used because of the side effects only, and the bromocriptine should be reserved for cases where all the other methods fail and long duration of the treatment is required to induce the estrus in bitches. About 40 days is required at the therapeutic dose. So the dose of this bromocriptine in case of pseudo pregnancy is 0.01 milligram 2 times a day for 10 days. It should be used. So 0.03 milligram per kg orally, little higher dose is required, and once daily for 16 days it is required, and up to 0.1 milligram per kg orally in divided doses, gradually increasing amount, whereas the horses, it is dose is 0.1 milligram per kg orally. Suppose there is a chance of the vomiting after the bromocriptine. In case of dogs, since it's going to stimulate the chemoreceptor trigger zone, the metoclopramide may be used through a dopamine is antagonist, the dopamine antagonist. Carbergolin is available as the tablets as 0.5 milligram, and it's a potent dopamine receptor agonist, although low affinity interactions with the D1 receptors. So the alpha adrenergic receptors have also been noted, and the carbergolin has recently been introduced in veterinary medicine for the treatment of the pseudo pregnancy, especially in case of the bitches, and also suppression of lactation in the case of research. So this bromocriptine is very commonly used in case of the human medicine to stop the galactorrhea, especially in the nursing woman. And carbergolin is occasionally used as the termination of pregnancy in adjunct to second line therapy of the acromegaly, although its efficacy in suppressing the growth hormone levels is much lower than that of the suppressing hyperprolactinemia induced by the prolactin. That's how it works. Carbergolin has the less side effects when compared to the other drugs. So the carbergolin has very few side effects. Of course, the any drug which is having the effect will have a definite side effect. So what are all these side effects? These are transient hypotension, transient drowsiness, and occasionally vomiting or sometimes the anorexia. And side effects are mostly dose dependent, and following a single oral dose, absorption of the carbergolin from the GI tract is highly variable, and it is typically occurring 0.5 to 4 hours duration. And the carbergolin is expensive, that limits its routine use in case of the animals. whereas the dose in case of the dogs is 0.05 milligram per kg per orally once daily for 4 to 6 hours. So it can also be mixed with food and offered to the animal. So the another drug which is very similar to that of the carbapenem is metargolin. So metargolin is an ergot derivative, is a dopamine receptor agonist with actions and uses similar to those of the bromocriptine, and it's also a serotonin antagonist. And the metargolin has been used similar to that of the bromocriptine in disorders which are associated with the hyperprolactinemia, and it is used mainly to suppress lactation, to shorten the length of the estrus, and for the treatment of the pseudo pregnancy in case of the bitches. In human medicine, it is also used for the treatment of the gastrointestinal disorders and for the prophylaxis of migraine. So you may be having different type of the migraine. In such thing also, many times this metargolin is prescribed, and its actions are very similar to that of the bromocriptine, but have no apparent side effects when compared to the bromocriptine. But cost is little high, the metargolin as usual. So for induction of the estrus, the metargolin, which is 12.5 milligram total, it should be given as IM every 3 days until the onset of the pro-estrus, and induction of estrus may occur within 40 days, means total 40 days or 1.5 months of start of the therapy. So whatever the drugs used in case of deficiency of the prolactin, or the prolactin itself has no therapeutic value. In case of veterinary medicine, no specific drug is used to enhance the prolactin concentration. See, the growth hormone, of course, is used occasionally in lactating cows to promote milk production. Whereas in case of human medicine, use of placental lactogen or PL, which is a glycoprotein synthesized by the placenta, is suggested to occasionally to complement actions of prolactin in the growth and development of the breast or the mammary tissues, especially in case of the cattle. So the next hormone is a thyroid stimulating hormone. Of course, this is a glycoprotein hormone synthesized and secreted by the thyrotrope cells of the anterior pituitary. So please remember that the thyroid stimulating hormone is also known as TSH. It regulates the activity of the thyroid gland, including the synthesis and release of the thyroid hormone. So usually the thyroid hormones are T3 and T4. The T3 is more potent when compared to the T4. Or the thyroid stimulating hormone is a glycoprotein with a molecular weight of about 30,000 Daltons. So there is a considerable species specificity to this hormone is concerned, whereas in case of the human beings, TSH contains two glycoprotein chains having 210 amino acids and about 22% sugar is there, especially in case of the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. So this is the structure of the MIT, means monoiodothyronine. This is dihydrothyronine. Then this is the third structure is the tetraiodothyronine. Then 3,5,3 triiodothyronine is T4. So the T3 and T4 is going to act on the neutrophils, especially respiratory blood activity, then the NK cells, macrophages, dendrite cells. All these are there. So different biological activity will be stimulated with the different type of the hormone. And the regulation of this hormone, TSH, means thyroid stimulating hormone, So the anterior pituitary is controlled by the thyrotrophin releasing hormone. So this is the agent which is going to inhibit the release of the TSH, especially the TRH. So it's a hypothalamic hormone. The negative feedback inhibiting TSH secretion is provided by the thyroid hormone, which act primarily at the level of the pituitary. The triiodothyronine is T3 has been shown to reduce TRH receptors on the thyrotropes. So exposure to cold and emotional reactions increase the output of TRH and both TSH, whereas the excitement and anxiety or other conditions which greatly stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, which they will decrease the secretion of the thyroid stimulating hormone. So the glucocorticoids inhibit the secretion of TSH both at the hypothalamic and pituitary, especially the corticosteroids. So this is one of the mechanism of action is through the TSH receptors on the very specific glands, especially on the thyroid gland. The TSH receptor is a member of G protein coupled receptor and is coupled to the GS protein, means G stimulatory type of the protein. So the TSH receptors utilize the impulse increase in cytosolic calcium and protein kinase activation through rough phosphatidyl inositol diphosphate or biphosphate PIP2 hydrolysis of the thyroid cells, which may also be involved in TSH hormones, the biological effects or the physiological effects. And TSH increases the synthetic and secretory activity of the follicular cells of the thyroid glands. The thyroid stimulating hormone induces hyperplasia and hypertrophy of the thyroid follicles and increases the blood supply to the particular thyroid gland. So it elevates the iodine pump that increases the rate of iodide trapping in the glandular cells, whereas the thyroid stimulating hormone increases the proteolysis of thyroglobulin that has already stored in the follicles. So it's also, apart from the ovary, here are certain follicles, they are known as the thyroid follicular cells. So they release the thyroid hormones into the circulation. The proteolytic effect of thyroglobulin that causes the release of T3 and T4 thyroid hormones occurs early or within 30 minutes, whereas their effects require the hours and even days and sometimes weeks to develop this activity. So the thyrotrophin releasing hormone or thyroid stimulating hormone, regulating hormone. So the TRH is a tripeptidamide, especially transported to anterior pituitary gland via the superior hypophyseal artery. So in addition to endocrine function, the releasing hormone has the neurotransmitter and paracrine functions as well. So it is also having the paracrine, it's also going to act on the paracrine glands. Then it stimulates the synthesis and release of the thyroid stimulate hormone from the anterior pituitary by binding to the thyroid receptor, TRH hormone, thyroid releasing hormone in the thyrotroph cell membrane, and its turn activates the phospholipase C or the second messenger system. It produces a large amount of the PLC, and these PLC etc. are very much required for the action of any stimulatory hormones. So the what you call as the The disorders of the release of the TSH, especially the deficiency of the TSH, is involved only in case of few cases of this hypothyroidism, whereas the deficiency of the TSH secretion from the pituitary gland is resulting in the secondary hypothyroidism, where lack of hypothalamic TRH and its subsequent effects on TSH, it is going to result in the tertiary hypothyroidism. And long-term thyroid stimulation by the immunoglobulin, like example is IgG, class in Graves' disease in case of the human beings often results in low TSH levels, whereas the excess thyroid secretion suppresses the SH production and it causes the negative feedback mechanisms. In dogs, the secondary hypothyroidism occurs mainly due to the destruction of the pituitary thyrotropes by an expanding large tumor and also eases with the congenital hypopituitarism. It happens especially in the many animals. The hypo and hyper are very common. Hyper is always in case of certain tumors, whereas hypo may be of different origin. The deficiency of TSS results in impaired production and secretion of the thyroid hormones, whereas the clinical signs of the hypothyroidism resembles to that of those of the primary hypothyroidism and refer to multiple body systems. What happens in case of excess of TSH? So as usual, if the TSH is increased more and more, the T3 and T4, especially in the circulation, will increase. So excess circulating TSH is possibly responsible for the increase in the size of the thyroid that occurs in third line deficiency in the deficiency of other iatrogenic circumstances. So the enhanced thyroid activity due to the excess of TSH or TRH is not encountered clinically, whereas the hyperthyroidism resulting in excessive secretion of the thyroid gland primarily occurs due to the defect like the neoplasia. Whenever there is a tumor, especially in case of the thyroid gland, then lot of T3 and T4 are secreted, which causes the hyperthyroidism. And many times the secretion of hormone is limitless. So what is the line of treatment for the TSH disorders? Deficiency of the TSH hormone, thyrotropin is obtained commercially from the bovine anterior pituitary gland, and commercial TSH is used in the primarily as diagnostic agent to differentiate between the primary hypothyroidism and secondary hypothyroidism due to the pituitary failure. So on TSH administration, there is no increase in the thyroid uptake in case of primary hyperthyroidism, whereas the uptake generally increases in case of secondary hypothyroidism. So the secondary hypothyroidism is reflected by an increase in blood concentration, especially the T4, the primary hormone secreted by especially T4 is also a primary hormone secreted by thyroid gland after the thyroid hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone stimulation. So the varieties of the doses of the T3 and T4s are there, especially in case of the dogs. So, but we need to conduct the TSH stimulation test, especially in case of the dogs. So the repeated TSH stimulation test daily for 3 consecutive days is used to restore the responsiveness of the thyroid gland in case of animals in which the gland has become hyperactive due to the lack of thyroid stimulating hormone. So the varieties of the doses of the bovine TSH 0.1 IU kg and the 5 international units, it is recommended. So bovine, this thyroid stimulating hormone, of course, all this the treatment become very costly, and just we have to learn this for the sake of the academic purpose. So many drugs are there like protirelin. Protirelin is chemically synthesized, it is equivalent to that of the TSH. So this is especially the high doses of protirelin are associated with side effects like the salivation will be there, more and more salivation. Meiosis means constriction of the pupils, tachycardia, and many more side effects are also there. Whereas the dose of this is in case of dogs and cats is 0.